Hi everyone, Queer Friend here again. Whoa, I didn't think I'd say that in a while. But I finally felt called to do another video because I recently got this beautiful deck, the Lost Forest Tarot by Chelsea Santamaria or Santamaria, I don't know. I backed this one on Kickstarter. It took quite a while to get here. But there it is. And I really wanted to show it to you because I feel it's something special, so I had to share it. Let's get all the technicalities out of the way first before I show you the cards. It comes in this box. The box itself looks really like it looks beautiful. There are parts of the cards in there, like this is death, like part of the death card, for example. There are these kind of glossy parts on it. So I really like the detailing. The box itself is rubbish. I'm sorry, but I have to say it. You mean you can listen to this. This is the box you get with the typical Los Scarabeo type of decks, the mass-produced type of decks right now. Listen to that. So, I mean, this is it's just not sturdy. I'm already thinking about how I might enhance this one. You can see it's just glued in. I mean, all boxes are glued at one point, but I mean, it's done okay. I cannot complain about how it is put together, but it's just like not a very sturdy material. I think we'll see how well it will hold up because I really don't want to make another box right now. We'll see. This is the number of my deck. Again, I backed it on Kickstarter. It comes with an artist card. I have the Queen of Fire with that. And here's all the information you need if you might want to buy a copy yourself. It also comes with a little white booklet, although it's not really a booklet. It's just a sheet of paper that's folded up. Let me quickly refold it because I had already opened it up. So it comes like this, and then you open it up. You have the credits. You have general information here. You have a couple spreads here. I really want to try out the pentagram one, actually. And then you have, if you fold it up, the major arcana. It's done quite nicely. There's always a sentence or two about the card itself, and then there's upright and reversed meanings, like keywords for that. It's all right. It provides decent information, and if you're kind of familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith system, you don't really need it actually, but it's nice to have it. This is the other side. This is the minors. You have skies, fire. Let me quickly open this up. Earth and oceans for the suits. So sky obviously being air or swords, fire being fire wands, earth being earth or pentacles or coins or however it's called in different decks, and then you have oceans for water and the cups. Obviously there's always a little paragraph about the suit itself, and then the cards, it's the same with the minors as is with the majors. So you have one or two sentences about the card itself, and then you have upright and reversed meanings. So it's decent. Nothing too spectacular, but it's decent. The cardstock is a bit more on the bendy side, although it is actually quite thick. If you want to compare it to a standard mass-produced Los Scarabeo deck, this is the Healing Light Tarot by Christopher Butler, to be precise. So if you put them side by side, you see that it's actually a bit thicker, even just a tiny bit thicker. But it isn't. It's a bit more bendy. So the cards themselves are a bit more bendy, and you have to get used to that a bit when you riffle shuffle and even when you overhand shuffle. But they kind of pop back into their original straight line after shuffling, which is quite nice. Size-wise, exact standard tarot. Oh my god, exact standard tarot size. So there is not a millimeter difference between this deck and this deck, as you can see. So on to the cards. I am going to show you the cards one by one. Obviously, you can pause the video at any given time. in order to have a more in-depth look at the cards, obviously. I am not going to talk about each and every card, especially in the minors, because I want to talk a bit more about my experience with this deck. I think that's kind of more interesting. You can look at the cards yourself and form your own opinion. And I'm going to lay down the minors in 2 lines. Actually, if I had the space, I'd do it in 1 line, but my camera cannot pick it up like that kind of panoramic view, because it is a scene exactly like the Prisma Vision, and it's beautifully done. Just in regards of the color, I wanted to quickly point out, just look at these colors. They are so vibrant, they're stunningly beautiful. The deck in itself is stunningly beautiful. Let's see how many times I can say stunning in this video. Oh, what I didn't mention so far, before I show you the cards exactly, is this is the back. So it has the shiny detailing as well. I think, what is it called? It's a UV coating or something. And the cards themselves are kind of shiny, more like a satin finish actually. And there is this coating or this lamination and textured lamination on it that prevents it from having fingerprints all over it once you touched it, which I love, because I always leave fingerprints. I better not commit a murder at any given time, because because you shouldn't, and because the police would find me like straight away, because I always leave a lot of fingerprints, visible fingerprints. So I'm happy with this lamination. Okay, onto the cards. So you have the Fool here, wandering off into the lost forest, not knowing if he or she might come back, if he or she might find his way out. This is the Mage. This is actually my least favorite card in the whole deck, because I'm not that much into these kind of Tinkerbell fairies. It's just not my thing. But it makes sense. It means that kind of the smallest thing, the smallest bit of creative energy, like even like one little bit of fairy dust, can spark great things and manifest great things. So it does make sense. It's just visually definitely not my favorite. I mean, even the butterflies make sense, but I don't know. It's not for me. The Mystic is a Sphinx. I really like the Sphinx in this. Visually, probably my least favorite, but also my second to least favorite, but also my second to favorite, because actually I love all the other cards. What can I say? I really do like the meaning of this card though, and how she used the Sphinx for that, being her like the keeper of secrets. So really like that. Love the Empress. Empress, Emperor, and Hierophant are all trees, but different kind of trees, so it's very easy to distinguish between them, even if there weren't the titles on the card. Oh, by the way, you have the titles at the bottom, and then you have a very small number for the mages at the top. For the minors, there is nothing there, and you only have like top and bottom borders for that, no co-frames, which I love, so I definitely don't have to trim this deck. Here you have the Lovers, the Chariot, not to be mistaken for the Strength card, which has a kind of different take this time, because she facing her fears kind of, it makes her being the center of the storm, the eye of the storm. I like that idea. It's quite empowering. There's a different take on the Hermit as well, which I think, again, is quite interesting. I think in the booklet it says something about some beasts wanting or preferring to live in solitude. You can read it like that. Obviously, I think there is kind of more of a danger element to this card that is sometimes forgotten when it comes to the Hermit. Like, for once, if you're alone with yourself, you have to face your demons. You have to, because they are there. They are the only one accompanying you. So there's this kind of danger. But then there's also this kind of danger of staying away for too long and becoming too separated from everything. So I really like the take on this card, and I love the color. This kind of Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. The Wheel of Fortune, I love. You have the moon and the sun in there. You have all the elements in there. You have kind of this cycle, and there's sacred geometry on this card. I'm going to put this one to the side because I'm going to need it again later on. You have Justice, a beautiful Hanged Man. Oh my god, I love this one. If I could have a oh my god, I don't know the English word for that. Kelly told me, but I forgot. Sorry. Stained glass, something like that, like a window with colored glass in it, in that form, and with that that picture. I would totally put it into my flat. I love this card, and I love the colors. I mean, look at those, just so beautiful. Oh, by the way, as you can see, there's always a little the cards are signed. I really don't think it's obtrusive at all, and I really understand why she did that. So for me, that's totally fine. This is beautiful. At first, I didn't even recognize the hidden silhouettes in this card, but gorgeous. Temperance, a little bit different take, but I think I saw something similar in different decks as well. Like it. Devil, gorgeous. Tower, beautiful star. I love that there's clouds surrounding this star, so it comes in kind of troubled times. The moon, beautiful sun, Judgment, and then there's the World. And now you know why I needed to keep out the Wheel of Fortune, because it is almost identical, but when you have like the sun and the moon giving way to each other in the cycle of the day, you have them being united in the world to kind of give this feeling of closure and this feeling of like a bitter impact in a cycle, actually, and unity. And yeah, really like this. So there you go. These are the major Arcana cards. Oh, there is this labradorite here because it wanted to be paired. Actually, it not the stone, the crystal wanted to be paired this time, but the deck asked for it specifically. And for this one specifically, it was quite cross with me when not really, but you know what I mean, when I used a different labradorite for a picture I took for Instagram. Because this one couldn't flash on the picture, and I wanted a labradorite that flashed. But yeah, I wanted this one specifically. I'm going to talk about this a bit more later on. But now, off to the suits. So this is the suit of skies, which would resemble the element or the suit of swords, actually. And it's just sky, trees, leaves, birds, universe. You get the gist. If I could, again, I would lay it down in one single line because it forms a beautiful, beautiful scenery. But I can't. Not on this camera, at least. I'm going to adjust the camera in a second. Please let me lay out the cards first. Again, you can stop and pause at any given time. Simply to take a good look at the card. So again, you can have this one here, obviously, but I'm going to lay it down. I love the color in this. I love the kind of minimalistic approach, but then again, there are so many little details in the cards that kind of enhance the overall meaning. It's just stunning. I'm gonna kind of put up the camera for a second so you can have a view at the cards without all the glare. So here you have it. For those of you who read professionally or read for others, I think sometimes in some decks, maybe the Ten of Swords can be a bit intimidating for clients. I don't read specifically, but that's what I heard. Specifically, did I say that? I don't read professionally, but that's what I heard. So I really like, I I mean, I in general really like the impact of the meteor in this card, but it might be specifically nice for those of you who read professionally, because it still has this very powerful message of something ending, obviously, but it also isn't visually associated with murder. So this is the suit of air, or the suit of skies, and these are the court cards. Let me quickly put them down. I think in the Queen and King, it's a creature called Kirin, I think. Kirin, maybe. I am not familiar. I have to apologize. I'm not familiar with, I think it was Japanese culture. Maybe it's Asian in general. I don't know. Again, I'm so sorry. I'm not familiar with that. But I think it's a creature coming from that kind of realm. Yeah. So these are the court cards. I think just visually, this deck is really stunning. As for it being a good read, heck yeah. I did my first reading with it just when I got it, and usually I'm one who likes more kind of a structured reading for the first reading. So I usually do some kind of interview spread at the beginning. I didn't with this one. It didn't feel right. So I actually did an open conversation as a very first reading with this deck, and it was super interesting. And what was the most interesting about it actually was that the deck didn't want me to, or it didn't let me look at the meaning of the card at all at that point. But it all went kind of down by feeling, like having a feel for the cards and what it evoked in me. And it really was like there was a voice in my head telling me, like answering me in this conversation, as if I was talking to someone, and there was nothing I had to interpret at that point. So it was more about feeling my way through this conversation than actually interpreting it, which was quite a new experience for me. I mean, I go by my gut in readings a lot. And I always am open to what the card kind of make me feel, and go by that. But to that extent, I hadn't experienced it before, and I was stunned by that. Here's the extremely gorgeous suit of oceans or cups. And again, before I go more on about me reading with this deck, camera's off angle. I quickly wanted to point out just a few things, or one thing, because when I don't know if I already said it or if I just had it in my head to say it, but it is quite minimalist. There is not too much going on the card, which leaves a lot of room for like evoking a feeling, for interpretation, for kind of projecting onto the image or into the image, for even meditating with the cards. So there's a lot you could do with that. But there's always also this little bit of detailing in the cards that kind of set the scene, which I really, really love. So for example, just simply by looking at the background of the cards, we only have the aurora or the northern lights in the first three cards here, which is like, to me, it's kind of this element of wonder, of amazement, of powerful energy. I mean, I know physically what it is, but just leave it at this mythical thing right now, okay? And of course, this kind of really fits with the first three cards, especially like the 2 and the 3 of oceans or cups, where it's all about this power and the effect of relationships. So I really love the use of the aurora, and then also love the use of the sun only in the 9 and the 10. So the use of light in this card, the use of of different slight changes in the background to set the scene for the whole meaning of the card is just magnificent. So I just love it. Okay, on to the chords. So here's like a gorgeous seal for the page. I love dragons, so I'm always happy with the dragon in the deck. And then you have mermaids for the queen and the king, which is quite nice. I'm not too much into mermaids, but they're beautiful, and it's quite nice because they are serene, and they're like the majestic mythical creatures of the sea, right? So I really like it. And when you see this suit, you also know why I had to, or why this deck asked for this labradorite. If I could make it flash. It doesn't want to right now. Hello, there we go. Because it's just the same colors. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but and I know it's not like the typical thing to do, and it's not like the normal thing, but I always, from the very get-go, associated labradorite with water for whatever reason, but I did. And this deck, spoiler alert, is my new water deck. Those of you who know me for a bit know that I looked for a water deck for what feels like ages, and I had a couple of decks where I thought they might have the potential to be that, but it was always just, it wasn't. Like, even if it was just a slight miss, but I never found like a true water deck. Now I have. Even though, going on with a suit of fire now, this is quite fiery. I mean, the name says it. Yeah, but I will talk about this water thing, like my elemental association, a bit more in a different video that I'm gonna film after this one. And I'm probably gonna upload it as well today, because I'm not one to space it out, actually. I don't see the reason for that. Because I want to talk about my kind of, I don't know, I have, like, with a handful of decks, I have a very visceral connection in associating them with elements. So I want to talk about that a bit more, so it doesn't kind of fill this video up. So here's the suit of fire, or wands. Again, I'm gonna put the camera up for a moment so you can see the colors without the glare. I love it. I know there is a lot of fire, like truly burning down forest and burning down trees in this deck. And at least for me, it kind of left this kind of bitter taste on my tongue at times, because obviously I am aware of what's going on in Australia right now. So it is kind of, we are all kind of so aware of that right now, that if you see trees burning down, it immediately kind of connects with the news. So I think that's what it is, because if you look at it just through the lens of it being the suit of fire and it being a deck about the lost forest, then what else could she do than burning down trees? And you always have this kind of transformative energy of fire in the card. So I really, really like it. I like that there is the phoenix in there. I like that there is the egg cracking. I like the sun. I like the explosiveness of a volcano. So there's again a lot in this cards going on. I really like it, but obviously I know that, I mean, it's natural for us to kind of associate it with the news right now, right? At least that's what happened to me. So on to me reading with this deck. I already talked about my very first reading. The second reading I did was more was one I found on Eclectic, actually, the forum, where you end up having 7 cards you drew in a specific way, or you pulled in a specific way, and then you lay them all down and read them in a storyline. So again, it's not really specific and restricted positions in a spread, but a different take on reading it with a deck. And it did that beautifully as well. So I think, oh, I haven't shown, did I show you the cards without the glare? Yeah, I think I did. I'm sorry. I'm going off track here. So I think those of you who are writers might enjoy working with this deck because it is very easy to read and to be like to put together a story simply by looking at the cards. So I think that might be of interest for some of you. Not all of you, obviously, and not everyone loves the same kind of art style. So I know that, I'm aware of that. I love it though. So last but not least, the Suit of Earth. You have foxes in the Suit of Earth, which are called, like, there's this is again a mythical creature called Kitsune or something like that. Again, I am not familiar. I'm very sorry. I'm not familiar with the cultural background here. I have to look that up. But I mean, I think this one, like the white kitsune, but this one as well, like the fox with the multiple tails, I believe. Yeah. So again, I'm gonna take the camera up so you can see all the cards in their glory without the glare. I just love the colors in this deck. It's so vibrant, so beautiful. Again, I love, it's almost all the same scenery. It's a walk through the woods here, but there's so much little details in it, in placing of the foxes, in having just the eyes staring at you. It's just it reads beautifully. So I really love that. Okay, the third reading I did with this card was a full moon reading. And those of you who follow me for a bit know that I usually grab the Antique Anatomy for this kind of reading, but I wanted to see how this deck feels in a more restricted reading where you have positions. And it did quite well in that as well. So what I wanted to talk about, or what I wanted to say with that, is you can read this deck very versatile. It's very versatile in the way you can approach it. It is visually beautiful. It's a very easy read. It's not too whimsical, even though it is a deck about mythical creatures, which I really like. I love the art. I love the colors. There's nothing I don't like about this deck, actually. Yeah, that's the deck. That's all the cards. I just love the colors again. It's so vibrant. It's so beautiful. I love that there are no fingerprints to be seen on this deck. Have to say that again. So if you like it, here's the information again of the creator. If that sparked your interest, maybe you want to check her out. I just saw that she's on Instagram as well. I think her handle was, oh God, I forgot. I will put her Instagram handle in the description box because I don't want to say anything wrong right now. I think it was something like Zealcat, but I am going to put her information down there so you can all be sure, right? And that's it. I'm going to film the second video now about the elemental associations. It will be a shorty, or at least shorter than this one, obviously, because this was a full walkthrough. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope those of you who have this deck, or those of you who will get this deck, will love it as much as I do. That's it. I hope you're all having a gorgeous day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever, wherever you are in the world. And we'll see each other soon. Bye.